Barker, the naturopath. Thank you for coming back. I'm from New Zealand. I probably said that a million times. Now, let's talk about apple cider vinegar. Is it any good for SIBO, small intestinal bacterial, overgrowth? Well, check this out. Here's an old book, Apple Cider Vinegar Health System. This one's from Paul Bragg. Remember Bragg? Bragg cider vinegar. Bragg was a huge fan of cider vinegar. And when you read his book and his article, you'll understand why. Because the guy developed TB when he was quite young. But his dad was a farmer and he made barrels of apple cider vinegar. So he would ferment his own cider vinegar, and Paul Bragg's dad would be drinking this regularly on the farm. He's a strong guy. But when Bragg went to the military academy, isn't it a crazy military academy? I thought that was something in Russia, but in America they have it too apparently. And when he went there, he got sick, he developed TB. And then when he was sent to a sanatorium, guess what he got to recover? A Swiss doctor gave him apple cider vinegar again, and honey and water. And Bragg owes his recovery, he believes, to cider vinegar. So why is cider vinegar so good? Well, it's fermented. It's high in potassium. It helps to stimulate the gastric function. It really is good for low functioning stomach. Many people who go to a doctor with heartburn, in fact, it's probably about a 60 or 60, 40, 70, 30 ratio. About 60% of people who think they've got heartburn, in fact, have got underactive stomach. But where does this underactive stomach come from? There are many reasons, many theories on this low functioning stomach, but cider vinegar has a nice effect on it. I find cider vinegar also helps people with constipation quite a lot. It's great for the bowel in general. It really does work quite well. It also helps because it's high potassium, so it's going to help regulate the heartbeat. It's going to help with nerves and muscles and bones and a whole lot of things. So it's a fantastic food, regardless whether you have SIBO or not. If you have cider vinegar regularly in your diet, there's one thing I guarantee you'll notice: your energy will increase, your stamina will increase. You'll just feel you can work harder and longer. Also, mentally, you'll feel pretty good with the regular consumption. It's so cheap for what it does, it's almost ridiculous how effective cider vinegar can be. If you get cider vinegar, I think you should try the Bragg cider vinegar. It's the real McCoy, okay? It's the fermented one. It hasn't been made in a factory, involving, the processes that they've got today. Well, it's made in a factory, but it's a different kind of a cider vinegar. I've tried many cider vinegars out, but the Bragg's is definitely the best one to get. It's like anything that you get. There's usually good quality stuff, and one is better than average, and that's the Bragg's. But why is it effective for SIBO? Many people with SIBO have got issues with their stomach. They've got issues with bile production. They've got issues with their large intestine. They basically need to rejuvenate and to freshen up the gut, and that's what cider vinegar does really well. I also find it helps to stimulate appetite and improve bowel tone. So people who have just a tablespoon once or twice a day in a bit of water, even better if you add a little bit of honey with it, thoroughly mix that and drink that, you'll notice changes in the consistency of the stool, in the comfort of the gut, and also in the appetite. And if you take it long enough, you'll notice the sleep and energy improve. SIBO will not be cured with apple cider vinegar, but it will be ameliorated, it will be improved. If you want to get a handle on SIBO, I still think the best tests are, I'm not a big fan of the breath test, but many people still do them. I recommend the comprehensive stool analysis by Doctors Data in Chicago. Get that completed to find out where the real problem areas are before you start launching into a proper treatment. But, suffice to say, if you take a small amount of cider vinegar every single day for, several months, you will notice improvements in your gut. Also, that there's improvements will be complementary to the treatment that you're using, whether it's supplements or diet or whatever. Am I a fan of cider vinegar? I'm a big fan, okay? But remember, in some cases it can aggravate you, so start very slowly in small amounts and gradually build up to 1 or 2 dessert spoons per day. Especially good for people my age, 60, who may have sort of like arthritic problems or things like that, or high blood pressure. Start slow and build up, and guess what? In time you'll probably throw all those drugs in the trash where they belong. Thanks for tuning in.